Yeah, yeah. Be the same. Life will never be the same. Gotta love my get fired up music. Now it is time for us to get going. It is now 7 o'clock. We are turning off the music and getting ready to go. Find our clicker. And we are off. All right, I want to welcome you out to the Design Your Ultimate Life. We're going to show you how to build your ultimate life in less than 8 weeks without breaking your entire world. Now, I would ask you, just disconnect for a minute, all right? I know we're watching this on the internet, but try to turn off all your other notifications, put your phone down, give yourself this next hour to really make a huge difference and impact in your life. Because I'm going to talk to you about my revolutionary triad system that I've used to more than triple my business and have more time with my kids, and how you can use it to design your ultimate life right now. So, my disclaimer, you are not going to triple your business today, right? It's not going to happen just overnight. It doesn't do that. But if you're like me, when I first was starting with this whole process, I didn't want necessarily to, these pie in the sky dreams. I needed some release from the stress. All right. Yes, I want the ultimate life that has, with the fantastic career and the solid financial foundation and all of these things that make up an absolutely amazing life. But at first I just needed some help. And that's why I created the system that I have. And I've been helping people all over the world create that awesome life. Here's Dr. Silverhorn, a chiropractor here in Ocala, that, with my coaching program, she was able to not only take her business, improve it, but take it to the absolute next level, to the third power. And it's just amazing process. So who is this whole program for anyway, right? Well, if you're a high achiever looking for that extra edge, this is for you. If you've already had some success, but you know what? I want a little bit more. Or maybe you're overstressed. You're getting pulled in so many different directions. You're going crazy. Or, you're part of the sandwich generation, right? Where you've got parents that are coming home that you've got to take care of and kids that you're raising and sending to college. And it's just like you're getting squeezed in the middle, right? Maybe you just feel like you're missing out on the really good stuff of life, okay? Or, maybe you have unrealized goals. You've been trying to achieve things. You've been trying to make a difference. You've been trying to do this, but it's just not happening for you. Well, I'm going to help you overcome that today. And maybe it's just you're looking for a little bit more balance in your life. So I don't know why you're here, but I can tell you this. What we're going to talk about tonight will absolutely make a transformation in your life. Because what we want is that ultimate life. Right? And what is it? And how do I create it? Well, my goal for this webinar is to show you that really the only way for you to create a truly ultimate life is through creating a balanced and on purpose life, right? And really the only way to do that is to create that life is through my life triad system, right? But who am I anyway, right? My name is Dan Gentry, and I am just a farm boy from Dunellen, Florida. Right? Grew up on a 250-acre farm there, cows, pigs, chickens, the whole bit. Decided that I wanted to get out and see the world, so I joined the Air Force. They sent me to Omaha, Nebraska, and that was it, right? Not exactly the part of the world that I was wanting to go see, but you know what? I enjoyed it anyway. After that, I went into the corporate world, climbing the corporate ladder, spent more than 20 years in experience in corporate management, everywhere from, 1 or 2 person companies up to your Fortune 5 companies, right? And so, been through the entire spectrum. And now I speak to people all around the world about maintaining that peak performance while maintaining life balance, okay? Now, I have an awesome life. And you know what? I want you to have that too. But the reality of it is that my life wasn't always awesome, right? I remember clearly when it was not, and that's what started me on this journey. I remember very clearly I was sitting on the edge of my bed, contemplating my life. And yeah, actually, you know what? Bed is a bit generous. It was a mattress sitting on the floor of an unfurnished one-bedroom apartment. You know, I had a pot, a spoon, a glass, right? It was pretty sad. You know, and as I sat there, my soon-to-be ex-wife and my daughter were hundreds of miles away. I didn't even know where, right? Um, I was going to have to go the next day and dissolve my 401k so that I could pay for the mortgage and rent and everything else that was going on. And, you know, life was not good. My entire life was shattered. And I remember sitting there going, you know, my life was so amazing, right? What happened? How did I get here? Well, to answer that question, we have to go back. Back to the young executive. This is me a la 1998, right? Now, this was just about the time, some of you on here may be old enough to remember when BlackBerries were something new, right? It helped to bring those into our company. And this ushered in the area of on your hip, 24-hour email, right? My boss would send me an email at 3 in the morning and he'd get an answer at 3:05. Right? And you know, I could send him one at 3 or 4 or 5, whatever, and I was going to get an instant response. It's like basically being on call 24 hours a day for years. Okay. And I was working crazy hours, you know, 60, 70, 80, 100, 120. I remember one time I did a 140-hour week, which was absolutely insane. I was told that if you keep a sleeping bag under your desk, you may have a problem. Anyway, side note. But anyway, so I was doing very well for myself, though. You know, I was successful. People knew who I was, right? And I still remember vividly when I realized that there was something wrong. Okay, I had flown out to Denver, where our corporate office was, and it was on the 11th floor in downtown Denver. I still remember. And I wasn't out there enough to have my own office. So they put me up in this other VP's office, little table like that in front of the windows. And I sat there, opened my laptop, going through the 300 to 400 emails that would come in overnight that weren't worth waking up at 4 in the morning for, right? And away I go. And I'm sitting there, I'm working for probably about half an hour or so, maybe 45 minutes. And finally my body says, hey, you need some coffee, right? I'm like, okay. So I get up, I go get my cup of coffee. Now this was really cool back then. Keurig was not a big deal, but here they had the single serve coffee, right? I still remember the French roast. Oh my God, it smelled so good. As a side note, the way I'm going to make my billions one day is create a coffee that tastes as good as it smells. But anyway, that's an aside. Anyway, so I walk back in, I got my cup of coffee. I walk back into the office, and as I walk through the door, I just stopped dead in my tracks. Because wall-to-wall windows that my computer is sitting on the desk in front of, this was the view. I don't know if you've ever been to Denver. It is gorgeous. Here it was, crystal clear blue sky, snow-capped Rocky Mountains in the distance. Just absolutely gorgeous. And I hadn't seen it. I was sitting in front of the windows. All I had to do was look over the top of my computer, and I hadn't seen it. It's this beautiful picture postcard of God's beauty on earth, right? And what am I doing? I'm looking at this little screen that says, the human-made screen that says everything's terrible, right? I hadn't seen it. And I remember it hit me physically. I physically felt ill, that something was wrong. And I remember I closed my computer. I sat back, drank that cup of coffee, and contemplated my life. Contemplation, taking the time. And I realized that, yes, I was successful. Yes, I was making really good money, right? And yet, my marriage was falling apart. You know, I never saw my daughter. I would leave before she woke up, and I might get home in time to put her to bed. right? The marriage was falling apart because I didn't have any energy, right? A marriage takes time, it takes effort, it takes energy. And I was putting all of my soul into the business, into the company. And so when I would get home, it just don't talk to me right now. I need to decompress, right? That was kind of my word. Just, I need some time. Well, a marriage is not going to last if you're not putting energy into it. Because, people say marriage is 50-50. No, divorce is 50-50. Marriage is 100-100. You got to be putting a lot of time, a lot of effort into it to make it work. And then, my spiritual life was non-existent, right? My physical body was, I was going to hell. I mean, I used to have hair. I don't, well, not much, right? The stress was literally physically killing me, So all of the things that were important in life were in shambles, were falling by the wayside. But I was making really good money. Yay! And I realized right then that something was wrong and that I needed to fix it. I've really got to find the way to find some balance, find that work-life balance that people talk about, right? But like usually happens, it's like, well, I'll get around to it. I'll read some books, see if I can't find something, but no real change, right? And, figured, hey, I've got time, I'll fix it. I'll get around to it. Well, unfortunately, I ran out of time, right? as often does, time catches up with you. And in a 3-month span from basically the week before Thanksgiving 2001 until February of 2002, divorce begins. And when I was looking for a graphic for divorce, right? There were like the little cutesy hearts with the crack down on them, and like the little paper family with scissors cut, and no. And I saw this and I'm like, oh yeah. That's the kind of divorce, right? There are some divorces where it's very surgical. It's like the surgeon goes in and separates the people. It's very nice and clean and neat. Mine was not like that. It was more like a raptor attack, okay? And the important thing to note here is that the heart is jagged on both sides. So I had my own piece of that. So, yes, I own it. It was part me. Anyway, so divorce began, ugly, just not good. Not I don't know if there's such a thing as a good divorce, but this one was particularly unpleasant. And then in January, I was laid off. I wasn't important anymore. And interesting little side fact here. When you stop, your income stops, the bills do not. And if you ever feel lonely, just try missing some payments. Suddenly there are people that want to talk to you all the time. It's fantastic. Not really. All right. And then just to add that little extra, in February, my father passed away. Okay. And I remember having friends call me going, Dan, are you okay? Because if somebody's getting divorced, you worry about them. If they're laid off, you worry about them. If they have a death of a parent, you're worried about them. And you're doing all three at the same time. Are you okay? And, I'm like, yeah. And I use humor as kind of my coping mechanism. So I would joke that, well, they say that God will never test us beyond our capacity. I just wish he didn't trust me so much, right? Just, trying to let it off. And, the reality of it is that there was a little while where I did kind of go off a little bit, but I kind of pulled it back in, and because, my life was shattered, but now it was time to put it back together. And I'm like, how do I put my life back together? What do I need to do, right? And, I'm hoping that where you are right now is not where your life is shattered. I'm hoping that you're, just want it to fit together a little better. But how do we design that, right? And how do we make that work? And it took me on this quest of searching for the hidden pattern, right? Now, I'm a software developer by trade. And the whole idea of software, excuse me, is that you take complex business problems, right? You break it down into the little pieces, into the pieces of it, and then the patterns, and you create solutions and systems for each of those pieces, right? That's what software is. And I'm like, there's got to be a way to do that with the human condition, with what I'm searching for here is how do I make this work for me, right? And so I started looking for what is the hidden pattern in the human dynamics world, right? And so that's what got me started. So I started looking, and I began at, all right, well, I know I need life balance. Well, what does that really look like? Well, it's basically having kind of self-mastery, mastery of myself, and then my relationships, having good, solid relationships, and then of course it's the stuff. It's all the things that I have, right? And I'm like, okay, so there's that kind of there's a thing, so a foundation of myself, the framework of my relationships, and then my stuff. What am I manifesting in life? And then I realized, okay, so what does it mean to have self-mastery, right? Well, I realized that it's spirit, mind, and body. Body, mind, and spirit, right? That's what we always hear. And I'm thinking, okay, so the foundation of who we are is our spiritual selves. And then we've got our mental framework, and then our body. Those are the three pieces of self-mastery. All right. And if you've done any study in the self-improvement world, anything like that, you know that there's be, do, and have. We all have these things that we want, and we know we have to do certain things to get them. But before you can do that, you've got to be the right kind of person. So you've got to be before you can do, and do before you can have. All right. It's kind of a maxim in the self-improvement world. And I'm like, okay, there's that same three pattern again, right? And I remember one day I was I'd gone to church with my wife, and I was sitting there. And to be honest, I was bored. My mind was wandering, and thinking about this concept that was beginning to form in my brain. And I realized that you have the same thing in Christianity, right? You have the Holy Trinity, right? Well, it's the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. So the Father, the God, is the foundation of everything, right? And the Holy Spirit is the way that God manifests things and makes things happen in the world. And then you had Jesus, who was literally the physical manifestation of God on earth. So it's that same pattern, a foundation, a framework, and a manifestation. And then I remember, I am a huge math science geek. I will warn you now, there are no equations in my presentation today, but I do have presentations where there are equations. But Nikola Tesla, one of my absolute heroes, says if you want to understand the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. And I was like, aha, I get it. And because energy is the foundation of everything, right? The frequency is the way that energy moves through space, and the vibration is the manifestation of that frequency. And it just clicked. And that's where I came up with my keystone technology pattern, right? This is the pattern of life. Everything has a foundation piece, everything has a framework piece, and everything has a manifestation, right? So, you can look in physics and in religion, in personal development. Yeah, it's all there. It's a kind of a core theory that goes through everything, right? And using this, that's when it all kind of fell together. And I was able to use that concept and that technology to create my life triad. And that's what I'm really want to talk to you about today. This is what I call the life to the third power framework, because an ultimate life is not just a better life. It's not a good life. It's not even it's an awesome, amazing, ultimate life. It is not life squared. It's life to the third power. And that's why my company is Third Power Performance, because I want to help take you, and yes, I really mean you, and take your life to that third power level. Okay. And so the framework of this is, the foundation is life balance. We have to be a solid person. We have to have a good, solid, well-rounded life. Our life map is the framework that we use to create our life. It's our goals, it's our dreams, and where are we going? And the life legacy is, what's our ultimate destination? Why are we here? What's our purpose? That's our legacy. It's, what are we leaving? What's going to be greater than us? What's going to live beyond us? That is what your legacy, it's your purpose. And that's what life is all about, right? That is what you manifest in your life. It took me, 10 years on working on this. And, I discovered the hard way. You don't have to go through all of the different things and all the struggles and all of the crap that I had to go through, right? You can learn from me. You don't have to go through it yourself. And the thing is, if you've been struggling, this is probably why, right? You're stressed beyond limits, right? We're pulled so many different directions in today's world, and we don't have a good, clear picture of where we're trying to get to. And then you add in the societal pressures of success. As a successful man, I should work 80 hours a week, right? I remember talking to clients that were saying that, somebody's working here and they need to understand that the job is not a 40-hour-a-week job. You've got to spend way more than that to actually accomplish what you need to accomplish. And I'm like, no, there's something wrong with your system. Okay, that's not the way it's supposed to be. But we've got these societal pressures that it's not your fault. Here's your expectations. Here's what's expected of you, and that's not okay, right? Now the other thing is, we've got too many competing demands. Like I said, we're being pulled in so many different ways that it's just crazy, right? And then sometimes we have goals, but then they just kind of fizzle out. It's so hard to maintain the momentum and maintain the desire to keep going, right? And then, and procrastination, the killer of dreams, right? It's so hard. It's so easy to just let it fall into it. And then one of my favorites is, we should all over ourselves. All the things, I should do this, I should do that, I should do this. And it's just, that's not the way that it works, right? We have to just focus and get clear on what we really want. So what am I going to share with you today is 3 secrets. Secret number one is how to get fired up but don't burn out. How to kill bad stress, keep burnout away, and design your ultimate life. Not mine, yours. Secret number 2 is the mastery process. The 3 steps to mastery and how to use it in your life. And then lastly, the secret number 3 is the Skittles and rainbows, right? How does this work in the real world? What's the number 1 reason why most people's goals fail? And then, how do you find the time in today's crazy, crazy world? All right, secret number 1, how to get fired up but don't burn out. All right, now again, we're talking about the life legacy here, or the life triad here. Our foundation is life balance. Our framework is the life map, our goals, and then the life legacy. What's our ultimate purpose, right? Our first thing is our life balance. How do we do that, right? And I don't have time to go into a full in-depth view of this, but I wanted to at least touch on it, that the foundation of life balance is self-mastery. It's being a master of yourself, right? And then it's our relationships, our interpersonal, and then our material prosperity. Those are the primary pieces. Now, each of those break down into their own 3. So self-mastery, the foundation is spiritual. Who are you as a person? What's your philosophy? What's your core guiding belief system, right? And then our mental framework, it's our mind, it's our knowledge, it's our emotions, it's all of the different pieces that we live with, right? And then the manifestation of self-mastery is our physical body. Because let me tell you, if your body is not in shape, if you don't have the physical vitality to keep up this level of energy, then it's going to be hard for you to achieve success. It's going to be hard for you to keep on that life map. It's going to be hard for you to reach that final destination. right? Now, for relationships, the foundation of our relationships is our family and really close friends, right? And then the framework is our friends and our acquaintances, our business networks. That's how we interact with the world, okay? And then finally, others, people we don't know. How are we making an effect on the world, right? I remember I had a guidance counselor in middle school that pulled me aside. I was 12 years old and in his office, and he asked me a question, and I want to ask you this. He goes, Dan, what does the world owe you? So let me ask you this. What does the world owe you? And the answer is nothing. He goes, the world doesn't owe you anything. You owe the world. You were given the gift of life. It is up to you to pay that back by making the world a better place because you were here. That's what it's about. The world doesn't owe you anything. You owe the world. And that, I remember that made such a huge impact on me at 12 years old. And I mean, to the point where I remember it now, several decades later. And it just, that's why I do what I do, is I want to make the world a better place. Again, the foundation of your material prosperity is your finances, your financial education. You know, when we're in school, you're at elementary school, middle school, you get a report card every progress report every 4.5 weeks, a report card every 9 weeks, right? But when we get to be adults, oh no, we don't have report cards anymore. You know what? Yes, you do. Yes, you do. The thing is, for better or worse, the report card for adults at this point is our financial statement, right? The problem is we never check it. So you don't want to get to be 50, 60 years old and say, you know, I should probably check it. Oh dear, I have an F in investing. That's a bad time to find out, right? And then moving on up, the framework for material prosperity is our income, and the manifestation is this expenses, all the stuff that we actually buy, which is actually one of the biggest thieves of life balance is our stuff, because everything you own also owns you. You have to clean it, you have to care for it, you have to pay money for it. You look at your car, you got to clean it, you got to maintain it, you got to buy gas, you got to insurance, you got all the stuff that goes into the vehicle that takes your time, energy, and effort. All right, that's the life balance triad. Those are the different pieces of it. So one of the big things that I find when working with my clients is they're worried about burnout. And if your life is not in balance and you don't have that clear purpose of where you're going, burnout is coming. Right. So I put together a very short definition of what burnout is. Okay, no, not so much. Here's what burnout is. Burnout is stress trying to kill you. Right? That's what it is. That's what it's all about. Right? And you look at this, 1/3 of Americans feel like they're living with extreme stress, and about half of them feel that their stress has increased over 5 years, which is crazy because about 90% of the people that I talk to say that their stress has increased. And money and work are the leading causes of stress, right? And workers who are stressed out, their healthcare costs are higher, 46% higher, right? 3/4 of Americans feel like they've got stress-related symptoms, physical and psychological. Now I want you to stop what you're doing right this second, okay? Right now, release your shoulders from your ears, right? You're probably tensed up. Unclench your jaw, remove your tongue from the roof of your mouth, breathe. If you're like most people, you haven't taken a deep breath in a really long time. And we've got this tension that's just always there. And you know what? That's where burnout starts, right? And you look, what are the signs of burnout, right? It's becoming cynical or critical at work. You have difficulty concentrating. An increased feeling of resentment, right? You're irritable, right? Or my favorite one is the bottom is you lack satisfaction even when you're making accomplishments and achievements. They don't have the same juice to them. Get a drink here. Oh, okay. And you know what? I was burning out. I have been there several times, but I still remember I was working on this stuff. I was doing a full-time job, and I was trying to design the system, and I had another company I was working on, and just lots of different things, and kids and family and everything. It just kind of intense time, right? And I still remember, I don't know, have you ever said something and you said it forcefully and then realized how absolutely ludicrous, how idiotic that statement was? I still remember this to this day. I was in my office, actually standing right where I am right now, and my home office. I was working on this PowerPoint for, get fired up, don't burn out. And I was doing this section on the importance of family. And my kids are right outside the door fighting over a video game. Like, oh, yeah, something with a controller. I don't know. They're 9 and 12 now, so they were younger. But anyway, they're having this screaming match right outside my door. And I open the door with this, I'm sure my face was red, and I'm just like, I'm all upset. Will you two stop it? I'm trying to work on my presentation for the importance of family. And it just, and it was like, what did you just say? You just told your children to shut up because you're working on a project on the importance of family. Huh. There's something wrong there. And I realized that I was, having my own little moment. Okay. Breathe, do the stuff that you teach, right? And then I did something dangerous. I did something very, very dangerous. And I will caution you, be very, very careful if you have the desire to do this. I prayed for patience. That is a very, very dangerous thing to do. I don't want to, start any say any blasphemy or anything, but God has a very interesting sense of humor. Let's just put it that way. And he did not give me patience. That's not the way that praying for patience works. Instead, he gave me the opportunity to create patience and to learn patience. And this is an x-ray of my wife's leg. And this was, that was definitely a fun time. So I went from all of the things that I was already stressed about, working like crazy, all of this, and then add to it that I am now the caretaker in the home. I had to be a nurse to my wife. I was now the, doing all the cooking, all the cleaning, all the chauffeuring. My wife broke her right leg, so she couldn't even drive, right? And I always used to joke when people would say, "Does your wife work?" And I would always say, oh yeah, she definitely works a lot, just doesn't get paid very well. Talking about how there was a lot to being a, domestic engineer, homemaker. This took it to a whole new level. Let me tell you, it was crazy how much there was. A whole new respect for my wife, because oh my God, there's so much to do. Anyway, but this really helped me figure out okay, now let's come up with some patience and come up with a way of dealing with it. And so the first step was to see, where is all my energy and time going, right? These are some handout or some worksheets that I made up basically for myself, that I will be sharing with you at the end of this. But it was okay, let's look at where's all my time going? What are all of the activities that I'm doing? And, I'm looking at my activity list. Okay, well, I've got my job, I've got business that I'm creating, I've got all of that. Well, I'm also the Cub Master for my Cubs my son's Cub Scout pack. I'm on student advisory boards at 2 schools and 2 colleges. I'm in the Toastmasters. I'm in the National Speakers Association. On and on and on. So I had all of these different things that I was doing. I'm like, no wonder I was exhausted, right? And I had to look at, okay, what is really important? What do I need to keep doing? What can I let go for a little while? And what do I need to eliminate, right? And it really helped me bring into focus something that I had kind of known, but hadn't really clearly identified even for myself. And that was the life legacy, because that's your guiding star, right? That's where am I going? What is my life about? Why am I here, right? And that helps you put everything together and really define and help you determine what's important, what's not, what needs to go, what doesn't. Is that helping me get to my legacy? And for me, I want to share with you what my life legacy is, right? And my legacy really centers around a song, right? I don't know if you're familiar with the song Cats in the Cradle, but it's a song about a gentleman who has a little boy, but he's so busy working that he misses out on his son's whole life. And then when he finally retires and now has the time, his son has become just like him and is working and doesn't have time for his dad, right? And so it was the cycle continues. And and the cat's in the cradle and the silver spoon, little boy blue and the man in the moon. When you're coming home, Dad, I don't know when, but we'll get together then. We'll have a good time then. And this is why I do what I do, because I want to break that cycle. Because I have been that little boy wanting my dad to come and play with me. And he wasn't there, right? And much to my shame, I was the dad doing the exact same thing, right? And it kills me now to think that I did that. And I've tried to get better, right? And I am much better now than I ever was. I'm there for all of my son's activities and all of that. And it's just, I want to stop this. I want the Cats in the Cradle to just be a song and not a story about anybody. That's what I want. That is my legacy. And you know what? When you find your legacy, when you find what gets you fired up, when you find what gets you fired up like that, that is the fuel that you use. That is what makes you amazingly powerful. It's what lets you burn through and knock through any obstacle you come across. Because you know what? You want to get in my way, trying to get to that, to make that happen, to save children from being abandoned inside their own family? Good luck. You're not going to do it, because I've got rocket boosters firing legacy. And you know what? I'm tired right now. I'm tired. It's been a long day. But you know what? I get to do this. This is me fulfilling my legacy. This is me talking to you and making a difference in your life and the life of everybody that you can touch. And that beats caffeine. That beats anything else you can think of. That's why I'm here. So the way that you take this is kind of the action plan that comes out of this is, what does success look like to you? How do you find out what's your legacy? How do you find out what fires you up, right? Well, here is a little thing for you to do, little task that seems like it should be really easy. And with my coaching clients, this is one of the hardest things they have to do, is what does ultimate success look like? We're here to design your ultimate life, right? Well, what does ultimate success look like in each and every area of life? Because I probably guarantee that you've got some financial goals. You got some income goals, how much you want to make, some stuff goals, the house you want to have, right? At least generally. You probably have some physical goals, how the weight you want to be, and how sexy you look in in your jeans, right? You got those kind of goals. But how about family goals? What does it mean to be ultimately successful spiritually for you? What does it mean to be ultimately successful mentally and emotionally, with your friends, with making a difference in the world? How about that? Because most of the time, at least the people that I've run across and myself for most of my life, I never thought about it. Or if I did, it'd be fleeting at best. And you know what? The pieces that are left out are the most important. Your spiritual success is far more important than your financial success. Your family success, far more important than material prosperity. Believe me, nobody on their deathbed said, I wish I'd spent more time at the office or that I had more money. It's I wish I'd spent more time with my family. I wish I'd had more meaningful connections. That's what it's about. And through that, once you can really, truly define ultimate success, that's when you can find your legacy. So what is your legacy? What are you going to be remembered for? What is important to you? What's going to live beyond you? What are you leaving for your kids, for your grandkids, for your great-grandkids, and for humanity? What are you going to do to repay the world for giving you life? That's what's really important. And if you get nothing else out of what I've said today, find your purpose, because believe me, that will be a burning ember that will keep you warm and keep you fired up, and it will never let you burn out. And the way that we get there is with our life map. It's coming up with our goals and with our dreams. Okay? And having a balanced life on that path. That's what it's all about. So you need to create your system, design your life, right? Take each of the areas of life balance and figure out, what does ultimate success look like? And then when you're looking at when you've got decisions to make, is that going to take me towards my life legacy or away from it? Is that going to make my life more balanced or less balanced? Right? So create your system. Don't overcomplicate it. It's not complicated, right? My whole life triad system is made to be simple. The way the mind works, the human mind works, is 1, 2, 3, many. You can remember 3 things pretty easy. 4 starts getting questionable. 5, if you've ever asked a guy to go to the grocery store and had more than 3 things on your list, did you get what you wanted? No. So don't overcomplicate it. 1, 2, 3. That's it. You overcome their procrastination. And let me tell you, procrastination is just you're more afraid to do than you are of sitting on your butt. And let me tell you, when your purpose is clear, when you have a life map that's here's where I want to go, procrastination goes away because you want to get there, right? It's like when you're going on vacation, you don't procrastinate. I don't know if I want to go. No, you're going. Woohoo! Well, you need to have that same drive for your purpose, your why, right? And then shorten the time for restarts, because here's the reality. We're all going to fall down. We're all going to have bad days. No matter how strong you feel on a diet, there are going to be days where you have something you're not supposed to. And the question is, do you just say, oh, well, it's all just, never mind, I wasn't very good at that anyway, and just forget it? Or do you restart? Do you restart again? And the thing is to shorten the time between those restarts. You fall down, that's fine. Get back up again right away. Don't wait a year. I did that. I decided I was going to go on a diet, and I broke my diet one day and decided, well, I'll get back on it. And a year later, I'm like, oh dear, no, next day, next hour, restart now. Okay? And go through the life balance and really figure out, how do you create that? Okay. Because you know what? That's why I'm living right now. Yes, there are stresses, and the beauty is it's never going to be perfectly balanced. There's this myth that, it's just, here's my exact system, here's my schedule, and that's it. No, that doesn't work. Life balance isn't a state. It's an action. It's life balancing, right? It's like if you're standing on one foot, you're not balanced, you're balancing, you're constantly moving, and your plan has to constantly adjust. But I'm now, for me, I'm living for me, but life to the third power. And for you, I want you there. It's time for a change. Don't put it off. Don't say, I'm getting around to it. Do it now while it's there. Do it now. Don't wait. Okay. So secret number 2 is the mastery process, right? What are the 3 steps to mastering anything? Okay. Now, I am a huge chess fan. I don't want to brag, but I was the chess champion of Inverness Middle School. And, and I remember in learning how to play chess that when I first saw it, I didn't know what it was. I knew it was a game. My stepdad was playing, but that was it. I had no idea how to play or what it was. And I was at what I call unconscious incompetence. I don't know what I don't know, right? And we all start there. Whenever we're doing something new, when you started driving, you didn't know how to do it. You didn't know what the pedals did. You didn't know any of that, right? We all started that. Designing your ultimate life. How do you create it? Well, I don't, what am I missing? I don't know what I don't know, right? And the way that you move from unconscious incompetence to conscious incompetence, where, okay, hey, I know, I want to drive. I want to play this game of chess. I just don't know how, right? That you get to that by awareness. And that's what I'm hoping to give you today, is some awareness about life balance, awareness about how to have that ultimate life, right? To get you to the point where you're at conscious incompetence. Right? We know what we know what we don't know. Now we just don't know how to do. Now we got to figure out how to do it. And that takes us to our next. To move from conscious incompetence to conscious competence takes training. It's all right. It's learn, how do the pieces move in chess, right? How does the knight move? How does the pawn? All these different pieces, right? And when we're driving, it's which pedal's the brake, right? How do we make it? How do we make it? How do we adjust the mirrors? How do we do all of that, right? And through training, we learn how to do that. Driver's ed for driving. For me, it was playing my chess with my stepfather, and he beat me over and over and over and over and over again, right? Which is the way training works, by the way. You're going to fail a lot. You're going to find out lots of ways to not do it, and that's good. That's okay. That's part of the process. And once we get to then conscious competence, okay, now I know how all the pieces move on the board, right? But I still have to think about it. It's not just, okay, moving this piece over here. It's, okay, that one goes diagonally. I need to, getting in the car is the same thing. When you're a first-time driver, you're getting in, you're like checking everything, you're making the seatbelt, you're all the different pieces of it. And then, okay, now I can go. But through practice, right, we can move from conscious competence to unconscious competence. It's the mastery, where we do it without thought. It's just automatic, right? When I'm playing chess, I don't have to think, how does the rook move? How does the knight move? It just moves. I just do it. And now I'm focused solely on the strategy. Right? In driving, we don't have to think of all the different steps. We just get in and go. All we're thinking about is our destination. And that's where I want you to get with life, with life balance, with life mastery, is mastering the pieces of it, or through practice. How do I make decisions? How do I balance my life? So I can just focus on my legacy, on that destination, follow my map. I don't have to constantly be thinking, okay, today I need to be working on my spiritual and my family. No, just it becomes automatic. But remember, it takes time. It takes practice. It takes messing it up, right? That's part of it. And that's how you reach mastery. Now, the question that I have for you is, have you given yourself the time to fail? Right? Because there's a great quote on the wall at my karate studio that says, I never said it was easy. I only said it was worth it. Right? And that's, have you given yourself the time to be fearful, to have doubts, to make the missteps, right? Because all of those things are necessary. Because anything worth doing is worth doing poorly until you can do it well. And that is one of the core principles throughout life. You've got to do it poorly before you can do it well. And that is secret number 2, the mastery process. Now, secret number 3 is one of my favorites, the Skittles and Rainbows. It's the number 1 reason why goals fail and how to find the time in a crazy world. And fun story, the Skittles and Rainbows and Skittles, I was doing a presentation sort of like this, talking about life balance, and I kind of got to the end, and one of the ladies that was there in my seminar goes, this all sounds really, really nice. I love the concept, but enough with the rainbows and Skittles. I live in the real world, and I have real world deadlines. I've got a project that's coming up this weekend that I'm going to have to work. It's got to be done by Monday, so I'm having to work the weekend. How does this help me, right? And I'm like, you know what? I need to throw some real world stuff in there. How do we make this work? Not just la, 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 it's all unicorns and fluff and everything's wonderful all the time. The reality of it is life is a pain in the ass, right? How do we make it work, right? So the first thing I want to share with you, and this is another huge thing here, is the number 1 reason why I see people fail in their goals, and the number 1 reason why my goals have failed for years and years and years. And it's because beware the ripples, right? I had a marriage counselor when I was going through a divorce that explained it to me beautifully, is that we, a family, and in our case, we are systems. We are not isolated. It's not just one person and at the center of the universe and that's it, right? We're systems. We're like a baby's mobile, right? Like you see here. If you take one of those little pieces on a baby's mobile and move it, smack it, make a change in it, it's going to can be completely out of alignment. There's going to be some ripples that are going to go through that. Every other piece is going to start moving until it finds a new equilibrium, right? So when we have a goal, right, this dream that we're after, well, you know what? That is a change. That is a change to the system that we live in, right? And there are going to be aftershocks. There are going to be ripples from that change. When we throw that pebble in the pond saying, okay, I'm going to start eating healthy. How many of us have said, I'm going to start eating healthy? I know you have, right? Well, what happens when we do that? Okay, well, we start eating healthier, and that's it, right? No. Okay. Now, if you have a family like I do, my eating habits changes the family's eating habits. It changes the menu. It changes What do I do when snacks come into the office? What kind of snacks can I have? Where can I go out to eat? Can I go out to eat? How much more money is it going to be? Do I have to change some of the friends that I hang out with? Are my friends going to be supportive of me? You see where all of the different effects, all of the different things, that the ripples of that one little decision of I'm going to eat healthier. And that's a small change. That's a relatively innocuous change, and yet it has all of these after effects. And what happens if we do not plan for those eventualities? We're sunk, because we are not isolated. We are systems. Systems in our family, systems in our business, systems in our community, right? So when you're doing goal setting, and I do an entire session on goal setting, a New Year Revolution, and that's one of the biggest things is, what are the ripple effects of this change? Huge, 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 huge. Now, the next thing that I hear when people are trying to make a change is, I don't have time. Right? How do we find time in today's crazy world? Well, I used to have a little talk that I did talking about if you woke up from being in a coma for 90 days, how would you feel? That you had missed out on 90 days. What could you have done in 3 months? How much time could you have spent with family? Could you have learned a new language? What kind of things could you have done? And the core message behind that was that I saw some stats from Nielsen that said the average American between TV and internet was about 6 hours a day that they spent in a TV coma, air quote, TV coma. And so that's a quarter of your life. That's 3 months a year spent watching TV. And what else could you be doing with that time? Well, kind of an interesting little side note. I decided recently to update my stats, because those numbers were from 2007. I figured, there's probably a little difference now. I was not prepared for what I found. What would you say is the average amount of time the average American adult 18 and over spends per day in front of a screen? If you said 10 and a half hours, ding, 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 you win. That is crazy. In Q2 of 2018, 10 and a half hours of screen time. Video games, internet connected device, the whole bit, right? That's just nuts. That's almost half of our lives. And people say, well, I don't have time. Well, no, look at that, right? But but again, my thing on this was how do we create that life without completely changing your schedule and changing everything, right? So my first book, the Life Balance Hacks, Time Concentration, is getting more life in the time that you have. And this is, how do you take the time that you have and get more life into it? And this is, you take and you combine activities, you combine things. Multitasking is bad, but if you can multi-purpose your time, that's amazing. And the example I use is for exercise. Exercise, absolutely critical. Well, I chose an exercise, karate, that allows me to have almost every area of life balance in it, okay? Because the obvious is physical. It's great exercise, okay? But for me, you're having to memorize the moves, and you're having to memorize your forms and all of this, so there's a mental aspect to it. For me, there's a spiritual aspect to it, the breathing and the concentration and the flow and all of that. It's just beautiful to me. Now, the other part of it is I started it with my family, with my wife and my boys. My wife doesn't do it anymore. She broke her leg. But my boys and I right now, and it is February 13th, we are training for our black belts together, all three of us. So I've got family involved there. We have, my boys are 9 and 12. you know, as a 50-year-old guy, there's not a whole lot that I necessarily can connect with at 9 and 12, right? I mean, you know, there's some things, but this gives us something strong that we're doing together, that we're making happen together, and we're experiencing together, and it's fantastic. So as family, I've made friends, right? The dojang that I'm at, they do community outreach, so I'm helping make the world a better place. I've gotten business from there, so it's helped my income, right? So there's all of these different pieces of life balance in this one activity, you know, a couple hours a week, right? And I'm getting, you know, spiritual, mental, physical, family, friends, others, finances, right? All of that in one activity. And I, you know, in my book, I talk, you know, about 10 different ways that you can combine things together to make a major difference. But just concentrate your time and live it. Basically, it's living on purpose. Taking the time that you have and really making it work for you, right? Now, the next thing I hear a lot is, but I have bad habits, right? Well, you can make your habits work for you, okay? Yes, we need to work on cutting back our bad habits, but again, I'm trying to do this without destroying, you know, discombobulating your entire life. So hack number 2 is called habit stacking. We have good habits. How many of you brush your teeth before you go to bed? I'm hoping everybody's saying yes. But here's something that I did with habit stacking. It's adding on, it's stacking up things on a habit that you already have, okay? So for me, my nightly routine of brushing my teeth, well, I took and stacked some things on there. One of them is going to the kitchen and getting a glass of water for my wife. My wife likes having a little glass of water on her night table next to the bed, right? And so I go in and I get that for her. And while I'm there, I grab my vitamins that I need to take, right? So I take my vitamins, come back in, put her water on her dresser, you know, her night table, and I go and I get my gym clothes out for the next morning, set them next to my sink for in the morning when I brush my teeth, right? And so there you go. I added a couple of little things onto that habit, stacked some stuff. And in it, I increased my physical vertex, you know, my physical life balance part, because I've set myself up to exercise in the morning, right? And I've taken care of my health by taking my vitamins and all of that. I've increased my relationship because I did that tiny little thing, but I remembered to get the water for my wife, and she likes that. And it's my little way of saying, you're important to me. I remembered you, right? And it's those little deposits, little things like that, that make a huge difference in your relationship. You know, I've got a whole podcast, how getting that glass of water saved my marriage. Seriously, right? So there are things that you can do that do not require you to completely kill your life, right? So you still have time. And that's what, you know, I want to, if I can get anything through to you, you can make the change. You can make your life the way that you want it to be. It's not too late. You still have the time. So that's our Skittles and Rainbows. Those are our 3 secrets, you know, getting you fired up, but don't burn it out, mastering anything, and handling the real world, right? So let me ask you a question, right? You're probably feeling a little bit like that. I've dumped a lot of stuff on you in the last, 60 minutes or so. And I wish that, I could just, boom, that would be enough to get you there. But what I would really like is to be able to continue this, to help you through this, right? Because it's really your decision. Information alone is not going to cut it, right? If I could just give you all of my information and suddenly Cats in the Cradle would be just a song and not a story about anybody, I would do it in a heartbeat. The problem is that that's not enough. You need a system. You need the accountability and the mentoring to make it all work for you, right? And you do have a choice, okay? You can either do it slow, using trial and error and some of the stuff that I've taught you today, or you can do it quickly and join my Your Ultimate Life 8-week mentoring program, because I want to be able to walk you through how to do this in your life, right? That's why I'm here, all right? So this 8 weeks to design your ideal life, to really dive deep into each of the how you define ultimate success, to really make it real and come up with that your life purpose. Find out what's your life legacy. Why are you really here? And create that life map. There are going to be 3 actual one-to-one sessions where, in the beginning, in the middle, and then after you're done with the program, we kind of sit down and brainstorm, where do you need to go? How are you doing? And then where do you go afterwards? Okay. And really, not just, it's ideal just for you, right? It's just you and me, right? Because we're going to build your life legacy vision and the statement of your life legacy. We're going to create that custom life balance plan and design your true life map and create those goals that will bring you the ideal life that is true to your life balance goals. And then, we're also going to supercharge your business success, right? All of that. Now, the ultimate life mentoring program, to spend 8 weeks with me, is usually about $5,000, $49.97, right? I'm not going to charge you that, obviously, but that's what the core piece is valued at. But what else do you need with this, right? We've got the awareness, we've got the mentoring. Well, we need some training, right? That was our next thing. Well, I'm giving you special early access to a new program that I've created and got a little bit to finish on the tail end of, and that is my Total Executive Foundation. This is the life balance training. It's learning how to master your life on purpose, and deep training on life balance, right? And practical tools that help you along the way with strategies and tactics for success. And it's an online program that you can do over and over again, go as deep as you want and as many times as you want, right? And this program is normally $997, so $1,000. So you're getting the Ultimate Life Mentoring Program, that's $49.97. You're getting the Total Executive Foundation, that's $997. So that's a total of just under $6,000. But what else do you need? Well, you need community, right? That's having the people by your side that are like-minded and really going in the same direction as you are. And that's why I've created the Catalyst League. This is an online mastermind group, right? You got the benefit of like-minded high achievers, people who are really pushing the envelope. And we get to brainstorm ideas and strategies and give feedback. Plus, there are monthly Q&A calls where I'll get on, for half an hour, and teach a subject, and then we kind of talk about how are we doing, some challenges that we're facing. We get recognition for success, and this is a monthly program that I'm going to be giving you an entire year's access to. A year of that is $35.64. So you're looking at getting your Ultimate Life Mentoring Program, that's $49.97. Right? You're getting the Total Executive Foundation program, which is another $997, plus the Catalyst League, which is $35.64, for a total of $9,558. But what else? What else do you need for me to really make this impactful for you? And it's the tools, right? So there are a number of tools that you're going to be getting as part of this. The primary is the Life Triad Guide for Powerful Success, GPS, the GPS device to help you navigate your life map, right? And it's going to give you all of the tools necessary, worksheets, your legacy builder, your goal setting, your daily success journaling worksheets, and it also is going to include both of my books and a custom journal. Custom journal for you. So you're looking at your Ultimate Life Mentoring Program, that's $49.97, plus the Total Executive Foundation, that's $997, plus the Catalyst League at $35.64, plus your Guide to Powerful Success, that's $497, and the books and the journal are $70. A total of $10,125 in value. Right? Now, obviously, I'm not going to charge you that much, but if all this did was finally get past all the shoulds that you do and actually make some of your dreams and goals a reality, if you were able to double your income, triple your business, right? have ultimate time with your family, right? Would it be worth $10,000 to make that happen in your life? To not have regrets on your deathbed? How about if I was able to reduce your stress levels and show you how to have that more balanced life? Would it be worth $10,000 to never feel that tension mounting in your shoulders that makes you want to kill somebody, right? How much is that worth to you? And how much is it worth to find your true purpose, to find out why you're here, the thing that gets you fired up and gets you out of bed and makes you sound like I do, right? You get crazy because I know where I'm going finally in life. For so many years I sat there and I'm like, I don't know what I want out of life. Well, I want you to have that. And wouldn't it be worth it? Would it be worth 10 grand to have my ultimate destiny finally figured out, right? Now, I had two choices when I was doing this. The first was to go cheap as possible and try to just sell as many of these as I could, but it really wouldn't allow me to stack on the value. The second option requires a little bit higher investment, but in exchange, I can devote more resources to guarantee your success. And you know what? The reality of it is, I have done this program for people for free. And you know what they did with it? Not much. The people that paid for it, they're invested. And so what is it worth to you? What is it worth to be one step closer to being the hero that your family desperately needs? To have that increase in income, the increase in physical vitality, to have the energy, right? What would you pay to get one step closer? You can see why this is a good deal at $5,000. That normally for the general public, it's $1997, but because you're special, for right now, you can get started today for just $997. You go to lifetriad.com/go and we'll get you signed up for the program. Now, at this point, you've got two options. Option one is do nothing. Don't take this leap of faith. It's 100% risk-free. But let me tell you, nothing ventured, nothing gained. Option two is you put a small investment up, and it's small compared to all the value that you're going to get. And just give it a shot. Give it a try. And you know what? There's no downside to that because I give a 30-day guarantee. If you don't like it for any reason, you can cancel in 30 days. I don't care if it's 29 days, 23 hours, or 59 minutes. Just let me know and I'll get you your money back. So again, what you're going to get is you're going to get your Ultimate Life Mentoring Program. It's $48,999 value. The Total Executive Foundation, it's another $997. The Catalyst League year access for $35.64, plus the Guide to Powerful Success and the books in the journal, a $10,125 value. All right, all you need to do is go to lifetriad.com/go, fill out the form right there, and away you go. Now, Ryan Lilly, the Vice President of Business Creation for the Ocala CEP, said that my Triad system is one of the most powerful development tools he's ever come across, right? And it can be yours. You can have that value, that you can have that in your life. You can transform your life. Okay. So again, you're going to get your life mentoring, your Ultimate Life Mentoring Program, Total Executive Foundation, a year access to the Catalyst League, and the Guide for Powerful Success just for $997 today. So please go there. Get it. I'm so excited to be able to be working with you. I'm really looking forward to working with you and making a true difference in your life, right? Now is the time. Please do not just put it off. Don't say, I'm going to get around to it, right? Now is the time. So please go to lifetriad.com, www.lifetriad.com/go, and make it happen for you today. And thank you very much. Live your life to the third power.